All right, welcome to the Nathaneal podcast. Today we have a good friend of mine, Thomas Hornall. Welcome, Thomas.
Thank you, Nathaniel. Thanks for having me on.
You're a good friend of mine. I met you. We're both in PGA and on Jack Moses Court, so we've actually been planning this thing for a long time. Um, but yeah, you are one of my ghostwriter friends, and so I did want to ask that, like, because this is a thing that I also get asked a lot. Like, did you just wake up and just suddenly think, "Oh, I want to be a ghostwriter"? Like, I'm curious, how did your ghostwriting journey came to be?
Sure. Yeah. So I was a journalist for like 6, 7 years,
Mm,
working in London and then Glasgow, and it just got to the point where I got really sick of like commuting, having to be in certain places, and I thought, I'm gonna, I can write, like I'll do copywriting, and
mm.
just ended up quitting my job with like no plan, and just thought, oh, I'll write online, and yeah, ended up not making any money for like 3 months. I think I made like £100,
Right.
um, and then I thought, damn, like it's not actually that easy. I need to get some
Yeah.
good training. So yeah, that's when I started to explore like courses and cohorts and
Mm.
trying to actually learn rather than just like having no plan and just saying, hey, I'll write online.
Yeah. So just wanted to go back to that. So you were a writer before. What, I'm sorry. What did you write about? Journalist? Like, is there a specific? Do you have a specialty or anything like that?
Yeah, so I would be like doing like criminal trials. So I would spend like a lot of time sitting in court, like in murder cases.
Right.
Um,
Damn.
yeah,
Wild.
like
I didn't
in
know that.
Old Bailey in London, which is like the biggest criminal court in the UK. So I would be like sitting in on a lot of like stabbings and like terror trials. So I'd just be sitting in the corner, like taking notes with my shorthand on my like pen and paper, and
Yeah.
yeah, I'd be like out at like political rallies or like
Right.
demonstrations. So a lot of crime kind of stuff.
Mm. Gotcha.
Um, and that was like really interesting. I
Yeah.
think, I started it when I was like your age, like 21, 22,
Yeah.
a young guy like running around London, running like to all these like disasters and stuff. So it was like super interesting, but not that well paid.
Mm.
So I think when I got up to like 27, 28 years old,
Yeah.
I kind of realized like, hey, I need to like have some money left over at the end of the month, right? I was just like saving no money, like living super expensive cities, So yeah,
Gotcha.
good experience, but not for like the long term. I don't think for me.
Right. But you've always been. Would you say that you've always been a writer? Like you started off, you enjoyed writing already.
Yeah, yeah, I loved it when I was younger, but I think you kind of fall into like a pattern where you're writing, but it's just news copy. Like it's very like
Yeah.
like follows a formula.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I actually enjoyed the copywriting aspect more than like the news gathering
Mm.
aspect. Like once you got all the information, like how can you put it into like it's only got 200 words to fit in the paper or like 300 words, so you'd have to like
Yeah.
really get it down to like tell a good story in a short amount of words,
Yeah.
or like make like a complicated topic understandable for somebody to just open a newspaper and get the idea straight away. So I really like to play around with that.
Yeah. I actually used to do. So back in high school, I used to do competitions, like journalism competitions. Um,
Mm.
I don't know if that's this is what's also called in UK, but it's called crap, copy reading and headline writing. So basically,
Mm.
we're given like a text of a news article, and we write the headline, like what should be the headline to make it catchy, and then we correct like, is this the paragraph?
Yeah.
I guess it's because I'm used to X, so it's
Mm.
kind of hard for me to like get the vibe of LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's I think LinkedIn, I'm kind of struggling with LinkedIn just now as well because it's kind of like it's going through a weird moment
Mm.
because like there's all like everyone's doing like like paid comments or like they're
Right.
artificially like engaging with each other, like all these big creators and stuff. So it kind of like artificially pushes all this stuff onto the timeline that's like, compared to X, it's like super, it's like, kindness costs nothing, or like, people quit bad bosses. There's like all these platitudes around like, here's how to like ace a job interview. And it's like super cheesy at the moment. And yeah,
Dude.
not enjoying it now. But like, actually, I'll tell you how I got properly into LinkedIn was I got banned off Twitter for
Whoa,
like 4 weeks.
dude.
At
What
the start of
happened?
this year.
Why
I
did they
don't
ban
know.
you?
I don't know. Like I think I literally don't tweet anything like controversial or whatever. So
Do you have the tweet? Ah, crap, I forgot what it is. Like the tweet tracker thing, like the Tweemex. Did you have that? No.
I have Twimex, yeah.
Yeah, that's one. Like for some reason, Twitter hates Tweemex at the moment,
Oh
or
yeah.
like yeah, a lot of my friends like they had Tweemex and I just told them to remove it because that's what I did. Like apparently
Mm.
Tweemex is a bot, and like when X sees that you're using Tweemex, it'll think that you're a bot, and so it bans you.
Uh,
Yeah.
right. But so yeah, well I've still got that actually. It's quite handy. Quite
Yeah.
handy. But it was quite good in a way because it was like, well, if I'm banned on Twitter, like I literally only have LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And then it just kind of like forced me to take it a bit
To
more
focus.
serious.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I found a couple clients like on X just through being like normal guy and like interested in like what they were interested in. And these were like pretty active on X, but they didn't have a LinkedIn profile, but they're like entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
And it's like if you Google most people's name, the first thing that comes up is your
It's
LinkedIn
LinkedIn.
profile.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, I just was like, hey, you should be writing on LinkedIn, but they didn't want to do it either. They didn't get it. They were
Yeah.
like, didn't know how to navigate it. So then I kind of just was like, hey, I'll take that off your hands and like interview you and write on LinkedIn. And then that's
Yeah.
kind of how I've like built a little small one person kind
Business.
of business just
Yeah.
specializing in LinkedIn for these entrepreneurs.
It's actually the same thing that I'm trying to do on X. So we're doing the opposite though. Like I'm
Mm.
I'm the guy who's like, yo, did you know that this guy, like the richest man on earth, is like he's called Elon. He owns X, and you're not building there. I don't say that, but that's kind of like the frame that I use. I mean, like, yo, X is gonna be big. Like it's
Mm.
going to be the future. Like Elon has a lot of plans for it, and if you're not building on X, well, you're missing out. That's kind of
Yeah.
like what I'm doing. And so I try to get people on LinkedIn get on X. I
Right.
haven't done it. I haven't done it successfully because it's again it's much harder. At least for me, it's much harder to navigate LinkedIn because
Mm.
like I don't know how to send messages there. Like I don't know how to because I don't think you can message someone if you're not connected, right?
Yeah, you need to be connected, or like you get a
Yeah,
certain number of like in-mail messages, but like
yeah,
those are kind of spammy because those are like what cold like
yeah,
outreach like marketing people use, so they kind of get ignored a little bit.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, and
it's not the
it's
best functionality over there as well. Like they need to re all that whole thing.
yeah, and it's just so hard to I don't know like the comment section. I don't feel like my comments are being seen enough, and I just like what you said. I just feel like there's so many bots. That sounds bad. Like I don't want to crap on LinkedIn because I don't know it, but I just feel like there's so many AI bots in LinkedIn. It's so hard to like navigate it.
Yeah, man. Like so like to your point, there's a lot of people that crush on LinkedIn with like
Yeah.
100K plus followers, get like really good engagement, but they don't have success on Twitter.
Right.
They can't bring it across because the same you can kind of like waffle on LinkedIn. People can kind of write like 400 words, and it's like, look how great I am kind of thing, and it's like that could
Yeah.
be in like 100 words, you know.
Yeah.
So like I think the writing quality is better overall on X.
Yeah.
Um, and but also on LinkedIn, there's a lot of like guys in like their 40s, 50s, 60s with like a
Right.
lot of money who are like decision makers, and like
Yeah.
they are using LinkedIn more. So it's like there's a lot of high value people on LinkedIn who don't post, who just kind of read. So like if your post does well over there, you can like attract the attention of like big hitters.
Yeah.
Um, and so I think there's like a balance to kind of be struck there, but like certainly for like my clients, these are people who've already achieved like a lot in the world of business. So like
Yeah.
it's really low lift to just start writing on LinkedIn about it because they've got this network already there of people that they've collected throughout their career.
Yeah.
So like I think for like those guys, like you're like 40 or 50, you've had a career, like it's a really great opportunity to start writing on LinkedIn, and it's a bit more straightforward, I think, for them than X, like trying to throw off threads and all this
Yeah,
kind of
dude.
stuff. Like those guys, like
Yeah.
it's just like,
I just found
yeah,
that also like LinkedIn, dude, you can just write about your story and it'll go viral. On X,
mm,
like it's really hard to get your story viral. Although it is possible, I've seen a lot. It's just like on LinkedIn, everything that goes viral is your story.
yeah. There's a lot of that.
Yeah.
There's also a lot of like like people are putting like motivational quotes on like billboards and like bus stops and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, dude. And then like dude, that's when I learned about carousels. I was like, wow, it's cool, man. Like carousels,
Mm.
like infographics, selfie posts, dude. That's big.
Yeah, yeah,
Like just write something out and put your selfie on it, even if it's not connected. It's just you put a selfie on it. If it goes viral for some reason.
guaranteed, guaranteed. Yeah,
Yeah, dude.
um, yeah, man. I think it's like these platforms are always changing though, right? And then people
Mm.
are always like, oh, the algorithm's down or whatever. I think they go through like
Phases.
certain periods. Yeah,
Yeah.
like it goes up and down. I think as long as you're like consistently posting
Yeah.
over there, then you can ride like the ups and the downs as well.
Yeah. So curious then, like, how do you have a step-by-step thing on growing on LinkedIn that you like to share, that you're comfortable sharing? Yeah.
Um, Honestly, I just kind of shoot from the hip. I really need to get my systems like dialed in a
Right.
little bit more.
Yeah.
I've been
Even with
really
your
good.
clients, you just like same thing.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Kind of, to be honest. I mean,
Yeah.
I've got like it's I don't have like a weekly schedule that I'll hit. Like this has got to be an actionable
Mm.
insight, personality, or like
Yeah.
value. And I probably should kind of dial that in a bit more, but I'm just kind of really doing like a large scale like test. Um,
Right.
some of them are being like monster winners and getting like really good traction, but sometimes it's things you don't expect as well.
Yeah,
Um,
dude. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, that happens to me. Even on Twitter. I mean, like, dude, there are things that I just post from the hip as well. It just goes viral. Like, what the hell?
yeah. Um,
Yeah.
so you hear a lot of people say that have achieved success in our space, and they're always like, "Oh, I still have no clue what I'm doing," and I was always like, "Yeah, that's rubbish." Like, I think it is true. It's,
Right. Right.
yeah,
But do you have like, so how do you kind of talk to your clients then? Because, like, for me, the
sure.
reason why I have systems is because I have like, in a way, an outcome
Mm,
where I tell them, yo, this is like the amount of things that we're gonna get. I'm gonna get you sales because most of the people that I'm working have offers. Like, how will you tell them about? How do you offer them your service?
sure. So, um, I mean, the niche that I go for is a little bit different in that they're not selling anything
Yeah.
apart from like building their kind of own status or like just kind of broadcasting themselves a little bit more.
Mm.
So, like, I would say for my clients, it's all about like reactivating that like kind of dormant network and
Mm.
just like the
Right.
conversations that come from that, for example. So, like, they'll link up with like investors, um, maybe get access to more deal flow, for example, for like, oh, hey, like we haven't spoken in a while, but saw what you're doing on LinkedIn. And then they get into those conversations, and like at that level, it's like early access to like promising investments or like meeting founders building something, right? They're not like selling a recurring service or anything like that.
Mm.
One client that I'm working with right now, we have kind of niched down a little bit to target like early stage tech companies because he's a venture capitalist
Yeah.
and he wants to support more seed stage startups. So right now we're tailoring the content to that, like
Mm.
showing like all the successes he's had with that, um, and doing like lead gen as well on that side, like adding relevant people into his network and messaging them. So he's booking quite a lot of calls with them right now.
Yeah.
So like, that's typically like tech founders, like companies less than like 2 years old. They need like growth capital. They need operating advice. Um, so going a bit more niche with the content and then like adding that lead gen component's been really good for that client
Yeah.
currently. And then for one of my other clients as well is he's quite active on X,
Right.
but it's all about like taking his ideas from X,
Right.
fleshing them out.
Right.
I'll like ask him about stuff, and then I'll just write like kind of autopilot his LinkedIn, and then
Yeah.
he's like getting a lot of like offline benefits from that, I would say. So like
Yeah.
going out for lunch with like heavy hitters or like reconnecting with folks, just like people who are like, "Whoa, I had no idea." Like,
You did
just
this or something.
yeah, you did that, yeah. And we're actually niching down a little bit as well for one of his businesses over the next couple months. So it's like building that platform initially, and
Yeah.
then going a bit more niche with it now.
Dude, those are for me. I haven't. Well, I have had some of those clients, and those for me, those are the dream clients for ghostwriters. Because
Mm,
like in a way, it is quite hard to be a direct, like in a way, a direct response copywriter when
mm,
you're a ghostwriter, because like the way I see it is it your personal brand is more like a what do you call it? Like the different kind of advert. I forgot what it's called, but basically like commercials where you can't really measure the success, but
mm.
you know that it's succeeding in a way, if that makes
Y-
sense. Yeah.
It's like more intangible, you could say,
Yeah.
right? It's not
Yeah.
like because also like with the people I work with, like if I was like, "Hey, I booked you 10 more meetings," he'd be like, "Fuck, I don't want to sit in 10 meetings."
I don't need that. Like,
What are you doing?
yeah,
I'm trying to keep
yeah,
it to a schedule, like so. It's a bit of a delicate balance there because you want to be like, "Hey, like this is getting you, this is like worthwhile," but like they also, I think, because they're so successful, they have that longer term view, and they're like, "There's no way in 2 years they're not going to regret of building thousands of followers on LinkedIn and getting into the conversations they want to get into, right?"
yeah,
Um, yeah, so it is a tricky balance, I think, but I like working. I like working with those guys. Like an underrated benefit, I think, of this work we do is like you do get to learn a lot on the job as well. So it's like you're getting paid to learn, in a sense as well.
yeah, dude.
So it's a cool line of work.
Dude, it's like that is one of the biggest things that I also like about ghostwriting
Mm,
is when you work with someone who, like for me, I'm working with like agency owners, CEOs. Like you, when they tell you their ideas, you'd be like just mind blown sometimes. Like, bro, that's that's insane. Like that idea is like cool. And now like I can get that idea and talk about it in my email list. I'll be like, yo, I just, I was talking to this founder and be like, dude, he told me this. They don't know, like, I'm getting paid to essentially borrow authority in a way. So it's like, it's
yeah,
cool.
it is. It is. It's a steep learning curve. I think sometimes though, like sometimes I got overwhelmed with like learning all these like investment terms
Yeah,
and it was like a steep curve. But
yeah,
at a certain point as well, it's like okay, you don't have to be like a massive expert in like all the stuff that they're expert in, right? You just have to
mm,
like understand it enough to tell someone else who doesn't understand
yeah.
about it.
Yeah.
in like a way that they'll care about.
Yeah, it's actually easier because you're like, if you're a, like I was in a podcast with Dakota and he said this, like if you're a potato and you can understand complex concepts, then you can get that and explain it to other potatoes.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
right, like if you're a
yeah.
regular guy who's good at writing and making potatoes understand, then it's actually a benefit for you because you can talk to those meatheads.
Right. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
there's two schools of thought there. One's like it's for some people it's really beneficial to have like a highly skilled ghostwriter who understands
Yeah.
all of these like higher level things because um like without that you lose like critical nuance. But then the other school of thought is like you said, it's good to have somebody who doesn't maybe because then they can ask like the dumb questions and
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
put it across in a way. So there, I've seen like both sides of that debate, and
Yeah.
I think I fall more into the potato.
Yeah, dude, because we're both potatoes. That's why. Because I mean, for me, the thing is, like, the potato works because knowledge is already so abundant. You know, it's like
Mm,
it in a way. Of course, like I'm not discrediting the other school of thought where like specialized knowledge really is valuable,
mm,
but AI is just moving so fast at the moment that you can just like you don't even need so strong research skills at this point. Like you ask AI to research it for you, and they'll look
mm.
for it, and you don't even need to Google like those things anymore. So at least in my like perspective, the reason why a potato could be beneficial is like knowledge is free. It's no
Yeah,
longer that complicated. Yeah.
yeah, man. We're in definitely in that stage. So I'm curious to see how it pans out. Over the next couple of years, but it's yeah, it's interesting times for sure. And as you say, the rate of change is just so crazy. I think also with that is like the half life of skills now is getting shorter.
Yeah.
So like 10 years ago, you learned something, you could just rinse it on repeat, and it's like it'll take a while for everyone else to catch up. But now
Yeah.
it's like you could learn like a valuable skill today, and it's kind of like obsolete in a
Yeah.
year's time
Yeah.
because like things have moved on. So that's like exciting and kind of sucks as well.
Yeah, dude. And I mean, like again, I'm just like hammering on the potato. Like, what's great about a potato is that it can always learn. It's like it's always open to learning stuff because he's like he doesn't rely on one specific thing. Like the only thing he relies on is asking asking dumb questions. I think it's all, dude. I created this podcast solely because of that, like talking to you, and dude, like I don't know if you feel like it, but I'm asking a lot of dumb questions right now.
No, no, I don't think you are. I know it reminds me of when I was starting out as a journalist, and the like one of the more senior guys was like, okay, you need to treat the news desk, aka like your managers, like a mushroom. You just
Right,
keep them in the dark and feed them a lot of shit. So it kind of sounds
dude. That's funny, dude. Bro. Okay, so another thing that I did want to talk about is, you mentioned earlier, because like you did go into the games kind of late. Like for me, I'm 22,
Mm,
and I started like
yeah.
ghostwriting. Yeah, and so how did that transition for you? It's like especially like most people, they've been working a 9 to 5 for so long, and they feel like they're tied
Mm.
to it, and they think that they're forever going to stay there, or if they leave, what's there to do. How did that transition look for you?
Sure. So, yeah, I kind of get a little bit triggered when I see like, like 20, 21 year olds and it's like they're already like self-learning. And I was like, "Fuck, I really wish I had that like opportunity."
Yeah.
But I just had like a very traditional kind of
Mm,
view, like right,
mm,
right for the newspapers.
Yeah.
So I didn't get out until I was like 29. I'm 31
Mm.
now.
Mm.
So like I was yeah, as I said, I didn't make much money at the start, but I had a little bit of an advantage that I moved home to Scotland, like so I
Mm.
wasn't paying rent, so like I could have like 3, 4, 5 months of like
Right.
low income.
Yeah.
But I think like doing it a bit later in life, like 30, like maybe you've worked somewhere for 10 years, right? And then it's like, is it too late to change? Like, I think the thing I'm most proud of over the past year is like replacing my 9 to 5 salary
Mm.
and actually a bit more
Mm-hmm.
by just like writing online with like no like skills or
Yeah.
like prior experience in that thing. So I think like if you've got a bit of runway and like you don't have like crazy bills and that,
Yeah.
you can um you can absolutely turn your life around in like a year and do something that you want to do, even if you feel
Okay.
like, oh, I've already had 10 years in a career, like am I just throwing that all away?
Yeah.
I think that's like a bit of a like wrong-headed uh, approach, but what I would say is like just pick like 2 or 3 people that are doing what you want to do, and then just kind of like only listen to their stuff, and then don't try and
Right.
like listen to like 20
Yeah.
people, because then you're just going to get so much conflicting advice,
Yeah.
and it's going to be overwhelming. So yeah, that's what I
Yeah.
did with Dickie and Cole, and I think yeah, even though I've branched out a little bit more now, it's like really helpful to just zone in on like 1 or 2 people.
Yeah. No, yeah, definitely. That's something that I also that I also kind of implemented. So, like the reason why, so just to share with you like my background of how I got into
Mm,
X. Like I started writing on Quora simply because I read, Nicholas Skoll's book, The Art and Business of Online Writing. I just finished
mm,
that book, dude. Like I read that book and I just finished it in 2 days. Like I went through it because it was just really good. And then
mm,
he talked about like how you should just write consistently and the money will come. And that's what I
mm,
did. I didn't even think of like money. All I did was write consistently on Quora. So January this year, I
mm,
started writing on Quora every day, like no miss. I was night shift, so I would go to school. I would do night shift, and then before I would go to bed at 4 a.m. here in the Philippines, I would just write something out in Quora and then publish it. And I did that for 30 days, for a month, and then repurposed it on Twitter. So literally just copy paste everything. And then I just what's this? Like I exploded on Twitter, 700 followers in like, I don't know how it happened, if it's one post or like it was an accumulation, but I
mm.
blew up on Twitter, and that's when I just like went all in, did the PGA and all that stuff. So yeah, really, I think that is a way to go, like focusing on one thing, because what you said as well with the LinkedIn,
Mm.
if you go too much, it just gets confusing.
Yeah, and that speaks to like the energy I think that you had, right? Like still being like up for doing it at 4 in the morning after your
Yeah.
shift. Like you can't really kind of replace that or beat that. So yeah, I think that's smart, like the repurposing aspect. I definitely not been like very consistent writing for myself. It's something I want to improve on
Yeah.
as well. I just kind of taken the view of like, because I think you've done really good at being like service provider and like content creator
Yeah.
for yourself. Whereas like I'm still a little bit stuck in like service provider mode, I think at the moment. It's
Right.
like I don't want to, I'm not like writing in public as much as I should be for myself kind of thing. I'm just
Right.
like, as long as like I finish my client work
Mm.
and get paid, like I'm quite happy with like,
Yeah.
yeah. So I kind of cringe away from the term content creator a little bit, but I
Yeah.
think that's just like because of how it's packaged. Like
Right.
it's something I do definitely want to do is write more for myself. But yeah, maybe those systems will help me get out of that client work a little bit more and like
Yeah.
explore a little bit more of what I wanna do.
Yeah, dude. I mean, like my mentality is actually just to treat myself as my first client.
Mm.
So in a way, I don't think of myself as a content creator. I just think of myself as a client, and I like make sure that my systems are in place before I help someone else, because
Right.
like Cole also touches on this, like you are your best case study. So
Right.
if you if your brand, like I don't know, it works for you, but for me, like I know that if my brand start starts to like wither away, I don't think I'll be able to have the same success as I have. Like the
Mm.
reason why I found success, especially in the ghostwriting, because like ghostwriting, most of the clients, they don't want people to know that they have a ghostwriter, right?
Right. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And so I can't really tell people that, yo, like I ghost wrote for someone and I got these results, and not
Hmm.
have the same results for myself. Like
Hmm.
they'll just think that I stole those like I took screenshots from someone.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, but since I've done it for myself, like when I tell people, yo, I got like these amount of views for my client, they
Mm.
believe me, you know?
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a little bit two ways um, on that. It's like if you're trying to land someone who's like already online and like in that space, then maybe
Yeah.
but like also there's tons of people who are just like multimillionaires who are just sitting on like blank profiles with like never having written anything, and like
Yeah.
as long as you if you were like to get in touch with them and like say, hey, I wrote a couple of things for you, as long as it's good, a lot of them actually don't care like if you've gone viral or something like that, right?
Dude, how do you find those people? Like you're so good at doing that. Like,
Um,
is there a way, or just like by luck, or what?
honestly, like I don't even try and systematize it. I would just like you can go to like so say like a venture capitalist or like some big shot has like posted like something, right? The comment section, or like they
Right.
start a new venture, right? The comment section and those things can be crazy because like you'll have someone who's worth like 10 mil be like, great job. You
And then
just
they'll have a profile picture.
yeah. Or they left like three comments like months apart and
Right.
that's it. But they're on LinkedIn like most days, just reading this stuff, right? Um, so it's like, um, how could you get in touch with like a value first approach? Like, if you think it's got a good chance of success, and it's like, hey, I've looked up this guy. He sold his company. He's been in a couple of news articles from back in the day.
Hmm.
Spin up like two or three posts and be like, hey, like, um, I got really impressed by your background. I saw you comment on this thing. If you ever want to post on LinkedIn, here's like two posts.
Yeah.
Like, feel free to use them. Like, a lot of the time, people would be like really happy with that, and like, because you've given something
Yeah.
without asking. But you can be quite strategic with it, like, and only do it if there's like a decent chance of them replying. But I think
Yeah.
it shows that you've spent like an hour or two, like, and you're interested in them. That can be like a good way rather than like just pumping out your own content, trying to like mass DM or stuff like that. I don't know. I'm like a simple
Yeah,
simpleton.
dude.
Yeah.
Dude, it worth like, cause for me, I'm just realizing maybe I'm just like overthinking about this. Like I'm thinking too much of, oh, I need to like have case studies for myself. Like I think I just need to like sit down and do some research and outreach. Like that's it. Because I've closed some clients. Actually, the biggest clients who I've closed are those people who don't even really care about like those things where I go viral. Like they just
Yeah, yeah.
are. Do you can you write for me, and like
Mm,
do you do it well? And if you can do that, like I'll pay you.
yeah. I think that's like the way, and also just because I've not been like a Twitter native or anything like that, really.
Yeah.
Um, I was just like, here's some text, here's some stories, like direct message. Like I've not been very good at doing cold outreach or like spraying outbound messages. It's something I need to do better. But I prefer to take like a smaller approach because like you actually for most people to just like get started or to have like a good outcome, you really only need like two, one or two
Yeah.
clients, yeah, to like change your
Change
to
your life.
pay your life.
Yeah, dude, that's true.
Right? Yeah. I wrote that down in my notebooks. Maybe like 10 months ago or something when I was like,
Yeah.
I had no clients. Um, and I was like, I was getting really stressed and like, how am I going to do this? And everyone's got these complicated like push catch funnels and like closing clients every week. And I was like, in the pen and paper, like you need one person to say
Right.
yes,
Yeah.
right? Like, can
Literally.
you help one person enough for them to say yes and pay you like $3,000 a month? And
Yeah.
like when you just take that one person approach, I think it removes a lot of the overwhelm
Yeah.
of like I need to get like X thousand followers. But they don't even care. Nobody asked how many followers I had or like
Yeah.
asked me for case studies of stuff I did myself before,
Right.
So I
Dude,
don't think it's that big for a lot of people.
that is a big mindset shift for me. Like especially for like from you who's like you don't really show off your results and you don't really like talk about being a ghostwriter, but like you are doing well, man. Like we've been talking a lot even before this podcast, and I was like,
Mm.
bro, you're doing so well, and no one knows it. And like I'm out here. I mean, I'm doing quite well, but you're getting the results that I wish I could as well in a way. Because like I'm getting results. It's just that for some reason like your method is just so simple yet so
Mm.
effective. And I wish like maybe that like I should try that, man. Just to be like, do just sit down and do outreach, like look at these people and like just reach out to them.
Yeah. I don't know if that's like a grass is always greener thing, because
Yeah.
I think I look at a lot of people thinking, damn, I wish I was getting their results. So
Right.
maybe it's just like that's like a bias we have. I don't know. Um,
Yeah.
I definitely want to like add more clients, like maybe another one or two.
Yeah.
Um, but then I think I'd be good. I'd be good at like just a handful of clients,
Mm.
and just retain them because what I'm going for is like a long term relationship. So like I've
Yeah.
had my clients for like over 9 months uh, each now, and I'm doing like long term like deals
Yeah.
with them. So it's
Yeah.
like, okay, I know they're in for the long haul. I know I'm gonna be giving like most of my attention to that, and then it's like retaining them for a longer term, providing more services. Because I think a lot of people like agencies and stuff, like I don't know what the average is, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's like 2 3 months,
Yeah.
2 to like 5 months, and then like churn,
Yeah.
and then you go
Yeah.
try another agency, and it's like that would stress me out because I feel like I would just spend like 2 months getting to really know somebody
Yeah.
and their like ideas, and
Yeah.
then they leave,
Yeah.
and I just feel kind of like, ah, damn, I just like sunk a
Yeah.
lot of time into that, and
Yeah.
they're gone.
No, yeah, I definitely agree with you. Like, even for me, because, like, whenever I approach a client, I always like tell them, I want you to have ROI as much as possible. Like, I want you to
Hmm.
succeed. I just don't want to like sell you something and then run away with it. And so
Yeah,
I tell them like and for us to achieve that ROI, it's like we need to work long term because
yeah,
like if we work 1 month, 2 months, I'm not gonna be able to show you that ROI. Like at least
right.
I tell them at least 3 months, and like ideally 6 months. That's what I tell them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I think those are good time periods. I do that as well. I do 3 months to like kick off because that's like just long enough to get some traction and
yeah,
like change anything as well. I like
yeah,
6 months as well.
yeah,
I actually just had so I had the prospect that I did some free work for,
yeah,
and she really liked it. And then I was like, I proposed the 3 months package,
yeah,
and I thought she would go for it. But then she was like, um, she tried to offer me a 1 month trial, like really like well paid 1 month
yeah,
trial, but it was just like she wanted like this amount of volume, and she was in the thing of like, hey, I put this up on Upwork and I got hundreds of like replies,
yeah,
and I was like, okay, but then why are we talking? Because I didn't apply for it, and and then I was just like, even though it'd be like good money for a month, it's just like that you're not going to see like even if I do a lot of volume work for you, like
Yeah.
It's like they kind of some people kind of view it as like a commodity and like, oh well, so this should only take you 12 minutes, that should only take you 20 minutes, and like people on
Yeah.
Upwork would be glad at this, and it's just kind of like, well, there's a reason like we're not on there, and there's a reason we're talking, and 1 month trial is just like not really going to cut it for me.
Right. Yeah. 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 Definitely. That's again, like I really like the mentality of long term. I mean, again, what you
Mm,
mentioned, like this, even the agencies, like they say that if you talk to an agency owner, or like I worked with an agency owner, and she says that as well. Like, our plans are at least 3 months, because again,
mm,
like you don't see those results long term. So to all the ghostwriters out there, hell yeah,
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 and
dude.
I've done a bunch of free work as well. Like,
Mm.
I've done probably like at least 5 grand worth of free work this year.
Damn.
Um, and like consulting and like sending outlines and posts and on calls, right?
Yeah.
And it doesn't always come off, but like it's like gives you people to like follow up with in like
Yeah.
2 months' time, like, hey, how are you doing with this? And like a lot of the time they won't have made progress in those 2 months.
Yeah.
And it gives you like a good in to say, oh yeah, you said you were going to do this, like how's that going? Or you know. So I do like the free work approach as well, as long as it doesn't like take the piss
Yeah.
and kind of stretch out into like, oh, do this, can you do that? But just like a couple things that are like relatively low lift for you that you were maybe gonna do anyway,
Yeah.
just to keep those conversations going,
Hmm.
but in a targeted way, like I said before, not just like spraying and hoping, because then it
No,
would
yeah,
take
dude.
forever.
That's one thing. Like ghostwriter, even like freelancers in general, dude. I don't know about you, but on X, dude, the DMs are horrible, bro. Like, bro,
Yeah,
just
just an open.
people pitching me, dude. There was this guy who pitched me ghostwriting, and I'm like, I'm a ghostwriter, dude. Like, what you
Yeah,
doing, bro?
I've been checking your profile, right? They're just like spraying these with.
Yeah, I'm like, before you message people, you literally see their bio, and like, I tell them I'm a ghostwriter,
Mm.
bro, dude. Anyways, so yeah, man, like, do you have any future plans? Anything that we can expect from you, on X, on LinkedIn? Like, what can people expect?
Sure. So my like big focus right now is I'm moving country. So I'm
Yeah,
moving from Scotland to Norway. My
yeah,
girlfriend's Norwegian, so that's like taking up a lot of my time right now, like figuring out that move. So I'm gonna be. I did a thread on Twitter that it took me from 1.9k followers to 3.7k on thread,
yeah,
and that was about like cultural differences in Norway and the UK.
yeah.
So I've got like a bit of a Norwegian audience now, maybe. So I want to do some more like I think the writing I'll do for myself. Like I still haven't posted one copywriting tip or
Right.
like
Yeah.
quick quick tip or something like that.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna be posting more like my observations about like moving country,
Mm.
and maybe I'll post a little bit more about like what I'm actually doing for clients. But I don't know, it doesn't excite me that much to post about like the work I'm doing. That's more just like my work, and then maybe I'll post a little bit more about like this lifestyle stuff, right?
Yeah.
Um, as I
Personal
go
brand,
forward.
bro.
So, yeah, yeah. So you don't
Yeah.
have to do quick tips if you don't want to. That's my
Dude, I
take-home
love it.
message.
I love
Yeah.
it, bro. I certainly learned a lot. Like, I should, man. This is
I'm
what
not
I'm
saying
gonna
this
do.
is like
Yeah.
my approach is like good or scalable. Like it's not,
Yeah.
but like I don't want to build like a world-conquering agency or like anything like that. Like my goal with this was just to like replace like how can
Mm.
I get paid to
Yeah.
like my salary to
Yeah.
like do something on my own terms. So
Yeah.
like I think this little one person lifestyle business is like super achievable without having to follow all the like common uh, advice you see, as long as you do
Yeah.
good work in the background and like um yeah, you don't have to to do everything that you're getting told. So that's my takeaway so far from like this. But we'll see how it goes.
100%. So where can people find you? Anything you're promoting right now? Yeah.
So Thomas Hornall on X and same again on LinkedIn. So
Yeah.
I have more fun on X, I think, being on there, but
Yeah.
I do show up on LinkedIn still just for business reasons. So get me on either.
Yeah. And I think you have an email list.
I do, yeah, I do. I need to take a leaf out of your book and start sending more emails actually. So because
Yeah.
I like your emails. I really like your emails.
I appreciate
So
you, man.
yeah, I
Mini
need
plug.
to. I'm never going to go in reverse.
Subscribe to my email list.
Yeah. Plug,
Yeah.
plug. Yeah, maybe need to go and reverse engineer some of your emails because I need to get started sending to my list consistently. So
Appreciate you,
yeah,
dude. All right, man.
thank you.
So Thomas Hornell, check out his Twitter, his LinkedIn, and look at his email list and see how, my email list too, and see how like hours go.
Daniel's emails.
All right, man. It was great talking to you as always, man. Good friend of mine, Thomas Hornell. Thank you for helping in.
Thank you for having me on.
All right, man.